Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Shelly of Letters by Shells, and today we are going to be painting a watercolor leaf. So for this project, I'm going to be using my watercolor paints along with a watercolor paintbrush, watercolor paper, and water, along with a paper towel if you need. So awesome, let's get started. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab my paintbrush and give it a nice twirl into the water, and now just choose any pigment. I'm going to use a darker shade of green for the first leaf that we'll be painting together. So now I'm going to just use my paintbrush and dip it into one of the pigments and just give it a nice blend with the water and the color. And now I'm going to start at the very bottom of the paper to create that leaf. So at the very bottom, just holding the paintbrush, whatever feels comfortable for me. So feel free to don't think too much about this process. But now, starting at the very bottom, I'm going to just use the very tip of the paintbrush and paint this like upstroke motion, but I'm going to make sure that my upstrokes are very, very thin. So afterwards, I'm going to now just get my paintbrush, dip it back into one of the colors that I was using, and basically from where I left off, I'm going to now use the belly of my brush. So I'm going to apply some hard pressure and paint these C-curve like shapes. And I'm going to go ahead and now do that exact same motion on the opposite side as well. But the goal is to create some like white space in between that center point, as you can see here. And once the two C curves meet, just go ahead and really add like a point to the leaf, just to create more of like dimension to it. And if you like, you can go ahead and get more pigment and just drop it into the leaf just to add more color, just because the leaf is still wet. So next, I'm going to now just grab more pigment and again paint a stem by using light pressure and continue that C-stroke motions with all the other leaves. So feel free just to have fun with this process. You don't have to think too much about this entire step, because the goal is to make the leaves different shapes and sizes. I'm trying my best here just to make it a little bit different, but if you see like real leaves, they're not gonna always be perfect. So feel free just to paint some leaves that don't line up from left to right, but really just try to just have fun with this and not overthink the whole process. So I guess with that, there's going to be some leaves where I make sure that there's more white space in there, but there's going to be some leaves that won't have as much of the white space areas. I'm going to go ahead and now just make my stem a little bit longer. So there you have it with the watercolor leaf. So this is basically like my simple version of painting that, only using just one shade of green. So usually I wait for this to dry, and now my next goal would be to layer some leaves around that. So with that, I'm going to stick to maybe now a darker shade of green. So the first one we did was darker, but it also appeared a little bit lighter. So now the other sets that I'm going to be painting, they're going to be a little bit darker from the first leaf that we painted. As you start layering the leaves around the first one, again, just make sure that it's like almost close to being dry, just for the best results. So I'm going to now paint my stem starting at the very bottom, but now with this one, I'm going to try my best to make my stem a little bit thinner. And with the leaves, my goal is to basically make it a little bit longer, but also thinner than the first set of leaves that we'd painted. So it's pretty much the exact same motions that I'm doing, but I'm making my leaves just a little bit longer. And you'll see that it's just, since it's a darker shaded green, it just layers really nicely on top of the first set of leaves that we painted. So with this process, I'm not getting a paintbrush and dipping it directly into the pigment every time. My goal is to blend it with the water that I have on that tray that you see. So now with that, I'm pretty much done with this set now. So now I'm going to go ahead and paint some leaves that are pretty much like almost going off the page, as you can see there. And honestly, I could stop here, but I think I want to just add another set of leaves on the very top. So I'm just going to turn my paper over just to make it easier on myself. So again, using the same shade of green that I used for the second leaf, and just creating these like really thin upstrokes for the stem. And basically the motion is going to be the exact same thing, but I'm going to try to make my leaves look a little bit different by just playing around with the different sizes of the leaves as well. So one tip that I want to share with you all is that at the very tip of the leaves, you can pretty much make it go in different directions. I didn't do it for this example, but just if you want the leaves to look a little bit different, then one thing could be just pointing them in different directions so it looks like the leaves are just going from different angles. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much set with this design. So the goal was to create that first leaf with a lighter shade of green and just now layering some other leaves around it that was a darker shade. So now with the empty space that you see here, you can basically make it into like a print or a greeting card, write any fun positive messages around that. And yeah, that's pretty much what I would do for this type of design. So I would love to know what you'd like to do for yours. So if you do recreate this design, please let me know in the comments and tag me on Instagram as well. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, again, please comment them below and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.